another train with me. Unfortunately, the last couple of updates in Star Stable have been a bust as per usual, and we're supposed to be getting some new content coming down the week of this month and everything. But until then, I want to go ahead and do a little bit of a train with me and talk about my SSO unpopular opinions that may not be so unpopular, but we'll see. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I feel like I've almost been in like a bit of a slump with Star Stable, though I don't know if that's really anything surprising. I think that's just so I can get a break from this game. Then again, I think they still have the trailblazing thing going on. I literally thought yesterday's Wednesday update was like the last time to finish this, and I've yet to complete it, guys. I literally said that if I don't complete it by Wednesday,
it's just not gonna get done.
So my first unpopular opinion, I think roleplays are silly. Now, I know roleplays are a way to express yourself in this game, especially with limited things that you can do in this game now. I mean, you can train your horses, you can do your unfinished quests, you can also do reputation, but if you don't want to do any of those in-game things, you kind of have to make up your own fun with this game. So I don't want to be very rude or disrespectful to people who do role plays, because there's some role plays that are actually really good. The scripts and writings of some role plays are really good. I haven't seen a good script of a role play, and that's probably why I think they're kind of funny and silly. I could never find myself role playing in this game, though I might give it a try if I'm that bored, but I feel like I have to be really bored and have nothing better to do in this game to want to do role plays. But overall, I feel like a role playing aspect in this game can fit, but it's Star Stable, so I don't know how realistic you can go with some role plays. Some are fiction and some are non-fiction while we're playing a fictional game. I personally don't like realistic horse coats in the game. Some people feel differently about this, and some are half and half. Me personally, this is a fictional game. Obviously, this is not real life. If you want to play a real life horse game, I recommend RDR. That's a good realistic horse game. It's not centered around horses per se, but your main transportation in that game are horses, so there are multiple different variations of horses that are mainly realistic coats. I personally prefer in Star Stable to have fake coats. I don't mind having some realistic coats because some people do prefer realistic horse coats rather than fake ones, but I feel like it keeps in the immersion that you're playing in a fictional game and not real life. If I wanted to play a real life horse game, I would go to RDR because they do focus on realistic horse coats and horse breed movements and stuff like that. But I personally like having non-realistic horse coats with the magic coats and just the regular horses in game. But that may be an unpopular opinion. I don't know. I think the quests are boring. All of them, the side quests, the main quests. I honestly forgot what the whole purpose of the story was. I forgot the plot. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot the plot of the main story since the updates of quests are very sparse. I don't know when they're updating the main quest again, but in my personal opinion, I just think all the quests are boring. They're not very intriguing or interesting for me. Therefore, I just skip over it or don't read it and keep moving on with my life. And I know multiple people feel this way, but they mostly feel this way towards side quests or unimportant quests in the game, while some of the story quests they really enjoy. Me, I just don't like any of them. I forgot the plot. I don't know what the story is about anymore. The story has changed so much over the years that it doesn't even make sense. They just need to redo the whole entire quest line of the story. I don't understand the point of a club. Now, again, I don't want to be very rude or disrespectful because there are some good clubs out there. I'm not dissing any of the good clubs, but I personally don't understand the point of it. Maybe it's because I've never actually been in a club. Well, I have, but there's a couple of reasons why I joined those said clubs in the first place. My main reason was so I didn't get any club invites. I was kind of sick of getting club invites, so I told myself if somebody invited me to their club, I would just join. I won't really really participate. I won't actively make a club just for the sake of making a club, and I won't actively try to audition to be in a club either. I just feel as if some clubs, not all, are not my cup of tea. And I guess that's for everybody. Not all clubs are going to be your cup of tea, but we're playing Star Stable. I know there's clubs such as dressage clubs, drill club, role-playing clubs, etc. And I just don't understand really how you're supposed to make those clubs into something realistic, obviously, and have fun with them. Maybe it's because of the outfits and the club horse that you need to have. I personally don't find any joy in it. If I ever make a club, it would be for the sole purpose of me not getting any club invites. That's the only reason why I would ever make or join a club. I wouldn't actively care what happens in the club. But I don't know. I feel like that really is an unpopular opinion, or it's divided between the community, because I know not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels like clubs are stupid or a waste of time. And that's not what I'm saying, but I don't find joy in it. But maybe because I haven't found the right club, and that's why I feel like that. After I completed my Druid training over here and got my Rune Runner, I have yet to come over here in a while, but we're gonna do some training over here. I'm not a huge fan of any of the Gen 2 horses or younger. I think that's because I didn't really actively play during those times. I think I started playing, I have to check again, in 2018 or 2019. I'm not exactly sure when I officially made this account. So I did have a little bit of an off and on season with Star Stable during those times. So even though I had an active account, I didn't feel any personal attachments to any of the older Gen 2 horses. So when the old Gen 2 horses and younger end up leaving the game, I don't feel inclined to buy them. Some of their gaits and movements are a little wonky and funny, so I don't feel the need to buy them, especially if there's already a new and improved version of it in Generation 3. There's just no point. I think the only Generation 2 horse that I might consider getting before it retires is the Generation 2 Morgan, and only because that specific horse has some memories. I have memories with that horse. Mainly, if you guys heard of Siri Pixel Biologist, I'm pretty sure, Siri Pixie Biologist, she had a whole let's play of Star Stable, and she would ride this one Morgan religiously. And I remember watching her videos, and I saw that she named that Generation 2 horse Rosestone, and for some reason I just became addicted to that horse. Even though I'm not a fan of any Generation 2 horses, I might consider getting that one. That's the only one I'll consider getting, but I won't actually ride the horses. I know some people do have some attachments towards the Generation 2 horses and younger, because that's when they played the game the most. That's when their childhood was, and it makes sense for them to have that emotional connection with those horses. Therefore, they don't want those horses to leave the game. Makes sense, but I don't think that's always, or I don't always think that should be the reason to get a horse. But hey, you do what you want with your star coins. Okay, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but I have to say this. I actually like Yudis. I know people have a little bit of mixed opinions with Yudis, but let me be more specific. I like the newer updated version of Yudis, and I haven't really played during the time Yudis was in his old phase, meaning he had an old design. So I don't exactly know if the Yudis that we know now is the one that we knew back then or whatever, but I actually like Yudis. I don't know, he just has a very interesting personality. He's very unique, you know, he has a very unique personality, and obviously he's a musician, I think. I don't know, guys, I forgot, but he owns like circus, and he isn't originally from Jorvik, so I feel like he's a very interesting character. He's just one of those characters that, yes, he's weird and he may be attractive to some. I don't consider him attractive, but he's definitely an interesting and unique character in the game, and I actually like how he acts towards us. I don't know, sometimes I feel like he acts better than James from Fort Pinta, but that's my opinion. I feel like James just uses us a lot for his own personal gain, and so does Yudis, but I feel like James makes it more known that he's using us, I guess. I don't know. The old tack and clothes are ugly. I know some people have, it's like the same thing with the generation 2 horses and younger. Yes, they're funky, yes, they're ugly, and they're not really conventional to our characters now, but they still hold memories, and I just don't have those memories. I deleted I got rid of all of my old starter tack, old clothes. Some people held on to them for memory's sake, but I didn't want any of them. They looked ugly to me personally, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. There is some magical horses that should not be a thing in the game, aka the dragon horses. I'm specifically talking about the old Frisian, the old Jorvik Frisian Generation 3 Frisian dragons. I'm not a fan of them. I just feel like some magical horses, they do make sense. It's a fantasy game. It's a fantasy horse game. So obviously there's going to be unrealistic horse codes and horses in the game, but there's just some that I don't think sit well on the horses, therefore it looks kind of weird and funky. Like the dragon horses, I may not like them, and I honestly don't even like the Jorvik Frisians to begin with, so I don't even feel like that's a good example. But for like the fish horses, I actually like the model that they use for the fish horses, but I just don't think the fish horses need to be a thing in the game. I don't know. I just feel like that may be a very unpopular opinion. I don't know how to explain it. Not every update in the game needs to have a game-breaking update, meaning not every update in the game needs to be spectacular. We get an update every single Wednesday. I'm not expecting for the Star Stable developers to have a very game-breaking update every single Wednesday. That will just honestly just be too much for the developers and for us. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people are going to complain regardless. Like I've been saying, the last couple of Wednesday updates haven't been game-breaking or something worth recording or playing, to be honest, but there's some people out there who actually appreciate that. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest with you, I think we should get an update every 2 to 3 weeks. Therefore, the Star Stable developers have more time to come up with game-breaking updates, ones that are worth playing, worth actually recording, some that are actually like fleshed out, instead of, oh, we get a new trailblazing track or new championship ranks, things like that. Those are like small, mediocre updates, but it fits because we get an update every Wednesday, so it makes sense for them to have little small updates here and there. And then there's times where we get big updates throughout the month. But if I'm being completely honest, I feel like maybe having one huge update every 2-3 weeks, it can still be on Wednesdays, but every 2 to 3 weeks we get a big update. I feel like that's kind of fair. Oh my gosh, these stupid things. I feel like that's kind of fair since a lot of people complain that they don't like the trailblazing track, or not that they don't like it, but they more so are just complaining about how often they occur. Like we have a trailblazing track every single month and it feels overwhelming, and to some extent I kind of get it, but at the same time it's something to do in the game. You can't really complain that there's no game-breaking updates when they literally give us something to do in the game. Honestly, I don't understand that, but some people will just complain to complain for absolutely no reason. But if people like that are going to complain about small, mediocre updates in the game every Wednesday update, I feel like we should have an update every month, every 2 to 3 weeks that are like very big, or not even very big, but just something fun. I don't want to say fun, because I even feel like the trailblazing track can be fun. It's something to do. You don't necessarily have to do it if you don't want to, but it is something to keep you busy. It's something to keep you playing, to keep you occupied until the big update comes. but maybe just having somewhat of a fleshed out update, maybe a new quest. I don't know. Like, let me know down below what you guys think about that. Honestly, I feel like that's a great fix in my opinion, but again, people are gonna find ways to complain about it, and it's kind of like can't please everyone. But at the same time, if you do want big updates like that, the Star Stable developer teams really need time to make those updates. Like, every Wednesday update isn't going to be an update that's huge, and that's completely okay. I'm not a fan of the old SSO 1-bit. Again, I think this is probably because I didn't really play as much during those times, those important times of Star Stable, for me to really feel any nostalgia towards the old Star Stable. That's not to say that the old SSO was bad or anything, but I just don't have any personal sentiments or attachments to it. Therefore, I don't miss it that much. I actually like the new characters, even when we got the new characters, and a lot of people had mixed reviews, mixed opinions. I personally liked it. I feel like I was one of the few people during that time who actually liked it right off the bat. Yes, it was a little glitchy with the stirrups and some animations weren't finished or completed, but honestly, I didn't mind that. To be real with you, I really didn't care for that. I was just glad we had a fresh, updated look. And now with the new Generation 3 horses being introduced in the game, I really don't miss old Star Stable one bit. I just don't have any personal sentiments for them. See, some of these old horses, like the Hanoverian over here, is a Generation 2 horse. And again, some people love this horse. This was literally their childhood horse. They have been trying to save up for months to get this horse specifically, or just one of their favorite horses. But me, I look at them and I just see a funky horse. Even with the halflingers, some of their coats and models are just not my preferred favorite, but this is the horse coat Morgan that I'm considering getting if the time comes where the Morgan Generation 2 does officially have to leave the game. I might consider getting this horse because, again, this horse definitely does hold memories for me. Therefore, I feel like I should buy this horse. But yeah, I really do feel like that's a very unpopular opinion. The older Generation 3 horses kind of look funny. And I'm talking about like the old Generation 3. Some of them I can get past, while some, like the Clydesdales, I'm not a fan of them. What other one? I'm not a fan of the Irish Cobs. I say that while I have 3 in my stable. I did go ahead and buy 2 more Irish Cobs from the bazaar, though I'm not sure if I'm actually going to ride them or actually train with them. I think I just like their coats, therefore I felt more inclined to buy them. But there's just some Generation 3 horses with their gaits, they kind of look funny or goofy, or the animations are just not up to date. So I definitely hope that they take the time to update the new Clydesdales and the old Generation 3 horses. Just give them a little bit of a rework to fit the current version of SSO. Not too much now. I think I do like the coats. Now, I don't like the gaits of some of the horses, but the coats definitely make up for its funky gaits and unrealistic gaits, I guess. That's another thing. I think I like realistic gaits rather than unrealistic gaits. I'm not too bent over backwards if the gaits aren't realistic or they don't represent the horse that you're riding or whatever. I'm not that picky when it comes to horses. I mean, a horse is a horse. Some horses ride, or some horses trot the exact same way as another horse, or some horses jump the same way as the other horses. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all just horses, different breeds and coat colors, but they're all horses. So I don't know how different you can make horse jumps and horse gallops and canters different from other horses, but I don't mind if the gaits are unrealistic or realistic or not. I prefer them to be a little bit more realistic just because I don't want a horse running like a dog. I feel like I'm pretty content with how the game is so far. I know a lot of people have very mixed reviews about this. some people are really just half and half or just on the fence. They don't know exactly how to feel about the new Star Stable. They of course miss the old Star Stable graphics or the old Star Stable characters and some of the old horses that are being removed in the game. And like I said, this game was literally their childhood, so of course they're going to feel a little bit of nostalgia. They're going to kind of miss the old version of Star Stable, and to some extent I kind of agree. There's some parts of Star Stable that I definitely miss, but I actually am excited to see what the game has to offer for future updates. I'm not quick to jump on Star Stable's butt when it comes to what they do and don't fix in the game. I know there are some bugs and glitches that obviously needs to be fixed and addressed first and foremost before they start trying to introduce new content in the game. Like, fix some of the old glitches and bugs in the game before you start introducing something new in the game. But at the same time, like with the medieval event, I know a lot of people when it first came out were just like, oh, this is like an event, like a birthday event. But now that we realize that it's a permanent area in the game, I realize that's honestly just to give us something to do in the game. Like I said before, there's only so much you can do in this game, and after a while you kind of have to make your own fun. Some people enjoy that with the role playing or having clubs and doing their reputation, but same with the trailblazing track and the medieval event that they're updating this month. It's just to really give us something to do, to keep us busy, to keep us playing the game. At the end of the day, it's just a game, and if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. You don't even have to do it. It's honestly an optional choice. If you want to do the trailblazing track, you can. If you want to do racing, you can. If you want to train your horses, you can. You don't necessarily have to do it, and you don't necessarily have to like it. But I know a lot of people do like the medieval event, and yes, they were a little skeptical at first, especially since it's literally in the middle of nowhere. But at the same time, can you really complain about it? Because again, if you don't want anything to do with it, you don't have to go in that part of the area of the game. It really is just up to player preference. Why is the game all over the place with their updates? Sometimes I didn't want to say anything before, but I was just like, maybe they're going to fix it down the line. But I'll show you guys what I'm actually talking about. All right, so you know we have this UI. Then we have, when we open up our characters or something like that, we have this UI. And then on top of that, we also have this UI. We have 3 different types of UIs, and it's honestly just all over the place. I didn't want to say anything before because I thought Star Stable was going to fix it along with everything else. But when they introduced this new UI, it was just like, why do we have 3 different UIs? Like, why can't you just update all of them to the current version that you're trying to, like, why is there 3 different UIs that we got going on here? We have this one, we have this one, and then we have this one. Honestly, I just feel like it's just all over the place in my opinion. Like, why not just update it all at once? And I know a lot of people feel strongly about this, and there's some people who, like me, didn't say anything because I was just like, maybe it's just a me problem. Maybe I'm the problem here. But I genuinely feel like, why is it all over the place? You have a mixture of a mobile game and a mixture of a computer game UI, and honestly, it really is just a mess. I don't know if they're gonna actually fix that or not. They may fix it down the line, but it's not like a glitch or anything or a game breaking bug, so it's not something that they're going to quickly address or fix as of right now. And I mean, it doesn't really bother me if I don't see it all at once, but it definitely does irk me a little bit to know that we have 3 different types of UIs in the game. Sorry in advance if you hear my fan in the background. It got a little hot. I think this unpopular opinion goes back to how I'm content with how the game looks and how it's going so far. I kind of like the new graphics. Yes, they probably look a little bit more cartoonish. I forgot what the old graphics looked like, to be honest. I forgot if they looked more realistic or more cartoonish. But when I say they're more cartoonish now, is there's certain colors or textures that really do give off a kid's game when this is a kid's game and everything. everything, and I think I prefer that more than what the old graphics look like. Maybe it's because the newer graphics, yes, they still are cartoonish, but they look more vibrant and polished and cleaner, I guess, more rounder rather than sharper, if that makes sense. I don't know if that does or not. I don't think I'm a huge fan of Dino Valley. If they do end up revamping Dino Valley in the future and updating its graphics and everything, I probably wouldn't care too much. I'm not really a fan of snowy areas. That's why even when the snow is still in game, I prefer turning it off. I'm not a huge fan of snow or the winter areas, really. I guess that goes for Mistfall as well. I don't know if they're going to retexturize and update Mistfall and Dundle. I don't think Mistfall and Dundle had a revamped version yet. I'm not sure, but I think I would be more excited for Mistfall and Dundle to be updated rather than Dino Valley. I know some people want Dino Valley to be updated because it's been like that for years now, and at this point it's kind of like it's well overdue for an update, but I'm just not a fan of Dino Valley all that much. I rarely go up there. The only time I would actually go up there is if I need to complete my reputation or do a little quest. I don't even go up there to race anymore or anything. I don't really like that area. I remember being so hyped and excited to finally unlock the area and start doing some quests in there, and now I'm just kind of sick of it. I think maybe if it was updated a little bit, maybe I don't know what I'd feel. I probably would feel a little bit more happy to play in that area. I don't really know how to say this, but I don't know if I like any of the soundtracks. I prefer playing without sound in the game anyway. So I think there's some soundtracks that are very nostalgic for me, like the old Moorland races that you would do over there. They had a unique feel to them, while I think some of the newer songs in the game for new racetracks and stuff are up to listeners' preference, I guess. I personally don't play with a lot of my game sounds anyway. So for me to say, oh, I don't like any of the songs in the game is a little bit of an understatement because I don't play with the game sounds in the game. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's some songs that really do feel nostalgic and make me want to listen to them, but will I just all of a sudden turn on my game sounds and try to listen to them every time I run that race? Well, no. I don't think I'm really that interested in the game sounds that much to really care for doing all that, but I do like me some good ambiance, you know, just quiet silence in the background. Sometimes I might be watching a podcast or something, so just having a quiet, silent ambiance of our horses trotting away or our horses drinking or something like that. Stuff like that is what I mean. I don't really like music in any of my games. I usually just turn it off unless the song is a bop, which I haven't found a Star Staple song for races specifically that are like a huge bop where I'll just try to find them. But there's some that I definitely like, but I won't feel that inclined to turn it on immediately. I think I prefer the old style of the NPCs in the game. Now, there's some where, yes, they most definitely needed an update, like James and Yudis. I feel like, yeah, they needed a little bit of a refresh, a little bit of a revamp to the current Star Stable. While there's some NPC characters like Loretta, specifically her personality, I don't really care about how she looks, but specifically her personality, I kind of miss when she was a mean girl, you know? She was obviously a character who was very rude and mean, and I kind of miss that with old Star Stable. Now they make all the supposedly mean people in the game child friendly, where they made them baby sized, I guess. I mean, it is a kid's game, yes, but I kind of like when Loretta was actually a bully and she was mean to us instead of how she is now. I mean, she still has a little bit of that spunk, but she's not as rude anymore. She's not as mean. I remember the old storylines with her where she was genuinely like criticizing our character and our horse and everything, like she was genuinely a mean girl. And now she's more of a positive mean girl, I guess. She's still kind of snobby and stuck up, but she's more nice about it. So I kind of miss how she acted as her old characters. But like I said, I don't really care about how she looks. I just feel like, yeah, she still looks like Loretta, but she doesn't act like Loretta. I think that's the same with Tan. But Tan was generally nice to us. Like, she always tried to excuse Loretta's bad behavior towards us. She was genuinely a nice Bobcat girl, even though she might have had some tendencies, but she wasn't as bad as Loretta, is what I'll say. She wasn't as bad as Loretta. Why am I struggling so hard in this race right now? I cannot multitask to save my life. I'm not a fan of the dressage saddles, and I think that's because of how they're designed. I'm just not a fan of them. I don't know exactly what I don't like about them. I prefer English or Western saddles more than dressage saddles. I just don't do, or I don't have a reason to have my character wear dressage tack or clothing because my character doesn't do dressage or anything. And yes, it looks nice and preppy, but for how I play and everything, it doesn't really suit my aesthetic. So I'm not a fan of the dressage saddles or really any of the dressage tacks and clothings and stuff. But I think that's really just a me problem. I don't like dressing up my character. As you can see, I've had my character wear this outfit for over a week now, and I really just don't like having to change my character's look. I prefer keeping it pretty consistent, pretty the same. I feel like it's hard making decently good outfits. I know there's some people in game who know how to make really good outfits, and I will steal their ideas because I'm like, you know how to really make good outfits. But I just don't enjoy making outfits in games. So I will have my character wear the exact same clothing until I feel like I need to change it for a new video. I do make the effort though to change my character's clothing every video. So that way to you guys, it seems like she's changing her clothes every episode or every time I post. But there's times where she continues to stay the exact same over time. So my character in game, I like to differentiate my character that's in game from me. So obviously my character is just a character. She's not me in real life. I obviously don't have white or silver hair in real life. I kind of made her resemble me a little bit, but not in features. I feel like there's certain features that make my character look different from me. I mean, I think my skin tone is fairly similar to how I am in real life, but of course I don't have silver hair. I don't have hazel eyes. I just made my character however the way I want. And I know some people make their characters, not even with Star Stable, but just games in general, they make their character resemble them. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like I like to keep my character separate from the me in real life because honestly, this is a fantasy game. And yes, you want to be immersed in it in your own way. But I just feel like for me personally, having my character look like the real me in real life, I feel like it takes away the immersion for me. I don't want myself to be immersed in this game with having my character look like me, if that makes sense. But that's just me personally and my own reasons for it. I just feel like I like making my character and avatar look unrealistic because what's the fun of always having a person who always looks realistic? I want to have big childish eyes. Like look at my character. Like really take a look at my character. Like look at him. Like I don't have hazel eyes. I don't have silver hair. I don't have this kind of nose. I don't even have freckles. My character has a little bit of freckles. I don't even have freckles, but I just like making my character look like an avatar rather than my real self. And that's just me personally. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or people can relate or agree to that, but that's just how I feel. But I think that's going to be it, guys. Thank you guys for staying with me for this yap and chat with my unpopular opinions. Let me know down below your unpopular opinions with the game, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.